you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first official, technically fifth episode, but the first official opening of our new name for the podcast. It is officially the Daily Hotpot, and I am your co-host, Drift, aka Robbie.
And I am Khuon. Good morning, everyone.
Good flippity-doo morning to you, everyone. Yes. Our new official brand new name is the Daily Hotpot. Thank you to everyone that voted on the polls. It was a close race. Khuon, can you let us know how close this race was and between the two names that stuck it to the end?
It was pretty close, you know. We took polls from Spotify, we took polls from Instagram, and I would say it was like neck and neck with a few other ones.
Yeah, quite a few other ones. It was, if you guys want to know the final two combatant names, we didn't release the results of the poll prior to announcing the name of the podcast. So you guys are first to hear it first. But the last two names in the running were, of course, the Daily Hotpot, which won over by just one vote. The runner-up, believe it or not, was the Two Seamen podcast.
Hey, I'm still fond of that name.
Look,
we'll make it work somehow.
You know, maybe it could be a segment. You never know. Yeah.
Maybe.
But yes, lost by one vote. It actually technically won the IG poll by one vote, but the Daily Hotpot won out by its two extra votes on the actual official Spotify poll. So again, thank you so much to everyone that voted. I think we got just over 30 votes. You guys are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are amazing. And can we just say, Khuon, shout out to the listeners, because we got 50 individual devices to listen through the first week and 100 plays. Shout out to you guys.
I know. Shout out. And our follower count slowly but steadily going up. I'm excited, especially for week 2. Now that we got the name out of the way, a lot of things are coming out this week too, actually. We got a new website coming out, a couple more social media stuff, probably at TikTok, YouTube, so many things.
So many things. We're just super excited. So thank you guys so much. We have a lot of things coming up, and don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for a while. So, Khuon, are you ready to get this podcast started, brother?
Yeah. So what's going to be today's topic?
Today's topic is going to be times we've been back to the motherland.
Ooh, okay. A very personal topic.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Why don't you kick us off, buddy?
Times we've been back to the motherland. You know, it's kind of like a bittersweet one for me because I immigrated here when I was a kid. And sadly, I've only been back once.
Oh, wow.
Back in high school. So it's been like probably 20 years since I've been back. Actually, yeah, almost 20 years now. It's kind of crazy. I bet so many things have changed for Vietnam, according to like, you know, whenever I'm on Facebook and I see like family members posting videos in the city, I'm like, damn, I don't recognize this at all. What about you? Have you been back?
Well, obviously, or I guess not obviously, but unlike Khuon, who emigrated over to the United States, I was born in the United States, but my family is Filipino, so we're from the Philippines. I have been to the Philippines in my total 25 years of life 3 ? Times? Yes, 3 times.
That's a good amount.
Now, here's the thing about that, though. I've only been there consciously once. And
Consciously?
Yes.
Oh. I smell stories, guys. I smell stories.
No. Okay, I wish it would. Okay, well, actually, there might be some stories to that. But the first 2 times, the first one I was, I believe, 3. So I do not have a conscious memory of the motherland.
3 doesn't count. It's like taking a 2-year-old or 3-year-old to Disneyland.
Right.
They're not going to remember anything.
Yeah, you didn't go. Like, your mind wasn't there to really appreciate the fact that you went to Disneyland. And the same for me was for the Philippines. The other time, I went when I was 6 or 7.
Okay.
So still young, but a sort of half and half consciousness where I can kind of pick out little stories from there. So really on a technical basis, 3, but on an actual basis of me consciously, you know, experiencing the country, living it out and being with family and experiencing this whole new world besides, you know, my stomping grounds in the US is once. And that was senior year of high school when my cousin had her wedding in the Philippines in Boracay, technically. It's a nice, beautiful vacation island where there is a strip of resorts, and if you just step one alleyway behind it, it is an impoverished fishing village in town.
Yeah. That sounds pretty on par with Vietnam also. There's definitely like touristy spots. And we also have like a little island apparently. That's like where the resort is. And then right next to the island or the resort areas, it's still Vietnam at the end of the day.
Do you have like a moment where like you like were at the resort and then just like walked over to the other side and just like the crazy difference between that like visually?
I think we only went to the resort just for fun for like a half day.
Mm,
But in general, from what I remember, and this was 20 years ago, so I'm sure a lot of things change. It didn't feel that impoverished. Granted, I was like in the city and back in the farmland where my grandparents lived.
mm,
So for the most part, I think we spent like a month there. It was pretty chill. Definitely a lot of group photos with families, and you get to see like high school con. Maybe I'll throw in some pictures right here for you guys to see or
mm,
whatnot. But it was definitely a good time. It's very interesting. So like the history is my family, my direct family, my parents and my older sister, we immigrated here when I was 7,
mm,
and we essentially just left, not left, but we were the only members of our family, both on my dad's side and my mother's side, that came to America. So like the rest of the family was back in Vietnam. So we came here with essentially no family here, but luckily they had a lot of family friends that came here beforehand that helped us out. So it was nice going back, especially in high school, and you get to hang out with your cousins, you get to go out in the city, and then finally meeting all these family members that you barely remember, but
mhm.
you also remember because like memory as like a child, you have pretty fond memory of your family. So good time. I enjoyed a good amount of it, I think.
It's always interesting going back to the motherland, especially as a teenager. I think it's you could tell
Yeah.
me if you experience the same thing, but I think we all to an extent had this sort of teenage angst. Um
hmm I
so
was gonna say that. I was probably still like a bratty in high school. I was like not the nicest person. So I was definitely like a too cool for school kind of person, even back in Vietnam.
yeah, I was gonna ask you if you experienced the same thing because looking back at it, I'm like, bro, I feel like I was such a snooty tooty asshole coming back to the Philippines. Like, oh, I don't want to be here. What the fuck am I back at the homeland, bro? I could like be experiencing like stay at
No,
home or whatever.
for me, it was pretty exciting.
Okay, that's
It
awesome.
was during summer vacation, so it's not like I had much to do anyway, right? And I think luckily I had a lot of cousins my age, so it was pretty chill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wish I learned to appreciate that moment better because I mean, like I said, that was essentially the one time I went back. I haven't been back since, though I do want to go soon, back to the Philippines and experience
Soon,
it
what
as an adult.
what what about next year?
I mean,
We, we,
shit.
we have all these plans for next year. We're like,
Guys,
oh, next year we got Hawaii, Japan, we got the Philippines now, we got Vietnam. But I do want to go back to Vietnam next year. I've been saying it ever since COVID, pretty much. Like, yeah, even to my family members, yeah, we're probably gonna go. I'm probably gonna go back pretty soon. My parents do go back somewhat frequently.
yeah, that's the thing. My parents and my brother have gone back in the past, even after my high school. So probably like there was a chance in like community college, like a couple times where I could have went back, but I always had something going on, or I was like, it's during like finals or whatever. I don't want to,
hmm
break time for that. But definitely, yeah, we got too many plans, guys. We'll see if it goes into fruition, but we definitely have plans
Going
to
back
return.
would be pretty awesome, actually, especially as adults, right?
Hmm.
It'd be a little scary in the sense of like there's no plan, right? There's no one. As a kid, you go back and everything's kind of scheduled and you don't have to worry about anything.
Hmm.
But going back yourself without family, it's like, oh, I gotta plan everything. I gotta make sure I visit the family, but I don't want to like stay with the family because I want to experience
Mm.
Vietnam as an adult, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's always such a liberating feeling. Is doing that as an adult because I mean I think everyone knows if you take vacation with family. I mean it's nice, especially as an adult, you learn to appreciate it, but there's still the family, loving as it is, the family tether, of take
hmm
holding you down on a vacation. It's like, oh, we'll hang out with the family, this and that. But it's like the most liberating part of a vacation. It's like, man, I get to explore and not have this weighing feeling of like, oh, but my family wants to do this, or they say
Yeah.
we have a dinner at night when I want to go just in the town and go figure it out and explore, you know? So that's definitely something I want to do in the Philippines. But it's so crazy because we landed in Manila back in high school when we went. And we were there probably for a night or two at a city hotel. And this is in the capital. So we're in the city. I mean, we're not seeing many impoverished people there, like the shanty towns and the shanty, like, kind of villages. But we went to my dad's home province of Davao. And Davao's in the southern part of the Philippines. Manila is more in the center up north. So over in Davao, he lived in a more shantied village in a more impoverished area. And even seeing that area of Davao was very interesting. Just comparatively to the city. I mean, literally in Asian countries, I'm sure it's similar in most third world countries like Vietnam, Philippines, even not even being in Asia, just seeing the metropolitan area and like you literally throw a stone, skip it like 100 yards one way and you look over and just see shacks made of sheet metal or like plywood. I remember being next to a Jollibee in Davao and there was like a 3-story concrete building. It looked like a almost like a media office. And a Jollibee. Also, shout out to Jollibee for being delicious and amazing. And chicken and gravy right now sounds amazing. But
apple pie.
Oh
yes, mango pie.
Peach mango pie, ube pie. Holy! I hear they have fish pie over there. Heard it's not that great. Heard it's not that great. Heard it's not that great. but and then just over was like this kind of shantied, like 1-story shallowed home. And I was like, bro, like, I know everyone sees it in different countries, but just seeing it in person is just so strange. Especially I think where we talked about this before, not in the podcast, but before we said how you and I basically come from suburban areas of our natural states and area and places where we are.
I am the most suburban person in the world, man.
So, you know, we're used to like, you know, seeing houses and neighborhoods that, you know, very much in many ways could be very gentrified and just, but seeing these homes, it's such a wake up call. I'm like, damn, bro, like I love my home, and just seeing these other things makes you feel a little grateful. And the biggest one for me was, you know, we stayed at a resort for Boracay where my cousin had her wedding. I was the MC for that wedding along with my dad, and we went to explore the nightlife along the strip, and, you know, respectfully.
Ooh, that's exciting.
It's exciting, but, you know, naturally a lot of elderly white couples in, you know, on the resort strip.
That does make sense.
It makes sense.
Resort, perfectly. You know.
Yeah. So my dad and one of my uncles, my titos, took us to behind the resorts, passed through a couple alleys where we went to the fishing village, like right behind it. And I mean, let me tell you, it's like the yin and yang drawing a line down the goddamn street. Like, it's like an inch or a millimeter away from the perfectly put in concrete of the resort building. And then right next to it is like a rotting wood shack and rotting wood stalls and this fish market where my tito took us there, and we had to pick out a fish. He's like, oh, pick a fish. I'm like, what do you mean pick a fish? But sure, I pick it one that's like flopping around. He's like, okay, cool. The guy grabs that motherfucker, puts him right on the table, and just slams his butcher knife, chops the head off. And I was like, okay. And he goes, I'm like, are we eating this? He's like, yeah. He's gonna give it to the person at the restaurant, and we're gonna have it. I'm like, a restaurant? I'm like, what? He takes us around the corner. Right? Yeah. I was like, we just came from the strip. What do you mean? He's like, oh, I have this, you know, little dinner set up. I was like, okay. He leads us over along with the fisherman guy or the butcher, who has it in some sort of plastic, like almost looks like a plastic bag wrap. Like, it's not a proper butcher paper or anything. Takes us over, walks us over to this little hole in the wall shack where there's like a couple tables. It's ran by this old Lola, God bless her soul, up there at the front. Has us sit down, maybe like 4 or 5 of us. And when we're putting on this food, they bring it to the kitchen in the back and they just start prepping it. And I'm just like, where the fuck are we? We're sitting on the classic Southeast Asian, like little mini stools, little stools where people squat in, little table that's like definitely from the fucking 70s, imported here or left in a junkyard somewhere. And my favorite part, my favorite part of that experience, besides having the fish, which was fucking phenomenal, by the way. I mean, it was just rice and fish. Classic. But my favorite part of that was the drinks, you know. Besides serving us waters and like mismatched plastic cups and those translucent like 80s plastic cups, they gave us a watermelon juice. And I was like, oh, dude, that's fire. They bring out the watermelon juice and they serve it in hollowed out light bulbs with a straw in it.
No way. Yo, that's like the original Boba trend, right?
Dude,
That's
you
OG.
That's what I'm saying.
That's OG right now.
When I saw it, I was like, dude, how poor ingenuity can you get by hollowing out a goddamn light bulb and like sipping fruit juice out of it? And then I come
It's
back
so
to the United
funny.
States.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and the shops, these freaking boba shops, and these these hipster places are like, yo, bro, look at us serving this out of a light bulb. I was like, bro, my people out here doing it to survive.
I was just gonna comment. I was like, bro, on the reverse, it's like a cool thing here. It's like, oh yeah, these plastic light bulbs you could drink out of. It's like, oh, funny.
It's yeah, that was probably
Yeah.
my favorite moment from my Philippines trip, and I definitely want to go back. Do you have like a really like particular like favorite moment from your trip?
Plenty of moments, but one that's like similar to what you said, but it took place in my grandparents' farm, right?
Mm.
So next to the farm or within the farm, there's like a pond. It's not a small pond, but it's also not like a large pond either. It was just there, and I thought it was just for decoration and stuff like that. And then one morning, one of my uncle with one of my cousins like stripped their clothes off, and then they went into the pond. And I was like,
What the fuck?
okay, a little morning dip. I like it. I like it. And then all of a sudden, I see them like catching with their hands giant fish out of
Yo.
the pond. I was like, and this is like, muddy water. It's not like clear, nice, clean water. So I'm like, okay, that kind of blew my mind as like this teen in suburb New Jersey, right? Imagine just going into like your backyard and like into a pond and just picking up a giant fish. And I was like, okay. And then apparently that was our lunch. So they grabbed the two fish, they cleaned it up, and then they just like deep fried it, like in the wok with like the oil, and then just dump it in there. And my God, I think that's the reason why deep fried fish is still like pretty up there as far as like cuisine for me. It was so good, flaky, oiled. I'm not a fan of like cooked fish, especially like steamed fish.
Oh yeah,
But fish and oil, so good. So very similar story. As a teen, you're like an American teen. You're like, ain't no way this is happening, right?
Right.
Ain't no way.
It's that's yeah. I don't know. It's just this earnest, get your hands dirty type. I mean, yours sounds low key more badass. Like you just went out to the pond behind the house. Is in the backyard, right? You said
It's basically their backyard, yeah.
Yeah, and they just went out there and go like, yeah, let me dip in real quick, grab our lunch. Like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
It was weird. Like looking back as an adult in hindsight, that's probably like where they grow, or like they have their fish farm, right?
Yeah. Oh, true.
But back then, I was like, ain't no way, yo. You just went into nature, just grabbed a fish from its home.
I can imagine the shock. Like that's I mean, obviously they're not equivalent, but that's almost like your uncle coming to your house, be like, "Hey, yo, we're gonna have some lunch." Like, all right, Unc, can you tell us what to do? And he just fucking goes into your fish tank and grabs the goldfish and throws that bitch in the wok.
Kind of. I mean, granted, here that happens in America too, right? Like people grow, they have like chicken farms, they grab the eggs and stuff like that too. But for me and you, living in the suburbs, nah.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen. We're gonna get in a car. We're gonna drive to the market. We're gonna get meat. We're not gonna get a chicken. We're gonna get just meat.
Right.
Chicken meat packaged up.
Like we're not even like in the rural area enough to like go like, yeah, let me go buy a chicken from the farmer so then I could actually kill it and dress it. Like, no, we're buying in a saran wrap with a freaking foam packaging, a little cutlet of chicken breasts. And it's like, yep, that's meat. Yep, it's not chicken. It's just meat.
Yeah, I saw that happen a few times when I was there. Same thing with like the family duck, the family chicken. So it's interesting seeing them get catched and bled, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is horrifying.
It's real as fuck. I never had the experience of watching like the animal get slaughtered. Which makes it sound so much more fucked up when I use that word. But like, guys, they're living, they're trying to survive, right? But I had this one story of like a real short one. When I was a kid, our family had a family chicken. They bred chickens in the backyard, but they had a family chicken called Tekla. And as a little kid, when I loved Spider-Man, I used to play catch with Tekla. I know.
Oh no, I'm scared for where this is going.
So we used to play catch with her, and basically we'd cup her, as she like sat in our hands, in our palms, and we like threw her up, and then she'd flap,
like a baby. Like a baby.
keep in mind, you know, I'm like 5. I'm like 6 years old. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we throw her and to play catch, and then she flaps. So she like kind of hovers over. She has a good arc, and then the other person catches her.
That's adorable.
It's
It's adorable.
so someone please
Go
call
on.
PETA.
What happens next?
Okay, it's not as bad as you think, but basically, come to find out, we keep on throwing her, and you know, at one point we throw her, and one of my cousins goes to catch her, and then she just stops flapping midair, and she just
no.
she just falls in my cousin's hands, and like a soggy rag, just boom, just limp, and then we're like,
no.
huh? And then instantly my tita grabs me and then brings me inside and closes my eyes like, oh, like she knows what happens. And I was like, what's up? What's going on? For the longest time, I had no idea what happened. But apparently, I don't even know if this is scientifically proven. Can we get some vets or farmers out here? But apparently, while throwing her, and especially against her will, the chicken like heartbeat got accelerated so fast that just amidst the flying and panic and stress on her heart practically like fucking imploded, and she died mid-flight.
That's traumatizing, bro. No. That's traumatizing. Get out of here. I'm gonna report you, bro.
Yeah. Look, guys, I love animals. I truly do. But obviously, you guys have never been to a third world country or your homeland if you've never just, you know, played. Again, we're not like abusing her like purposely, like, oh yeah, we want to kill this chicken. We're like playing with it. Like it's our version of playing with it. Like, oh yay, we'll play catch just like she's flying, whatever. But yeah, that was, and I didn't find out that like that was the reason she died or that she did die until I was obviously older, because, you know, they're trying to protect little old 3-6-year-old me who's like, oh, what happened? You sleeping? So
Chicken killer.
Look, y'all are gonna come at me for this episode. That's fine. It's fine. Like, yeah. So tell the audience,
did she taste good?
Look, okay. Did we have her after? I didn't know we did, but you bet. But you bet your ass that chicken adobo later that night tasted pretty good.
Oh no.
Anyways, yeah, that's
I love the fact that the kid you probably didn't even like put 2 and 2 together.
Not
right?
at all.
What are we having for dinner? Oh, we're having chicken. It's like, okay.
Not at all. Did not register that at all. Oh man. But yeah.
It's like, oh, thank you, Drift, for dinner. You're like, what? Good.
You know, what can I say? I'm a true professional by that point. I had hidden talents. But yeah, Philippines was crazy. Anyways, Khuon, we're
it's
nearing.
Fine. I've seen you play Power World, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at the treatment of your pets.
Guys, if you guys have played
your
Power
little
World,
pals,
if you guys have played Pal or Pal World, we here at the podcast, we treat our animals and pals with respect, and we obviously do not overwork them, and they definitely have workers' rights.
Yep.
So
very true. They have beds.
They have beds. They
eat raspberry all day. It's fine.
All day, every day from the same trough, you know?
Yes.
Anyways, Khuon, we are getting near the end here. Do you have anything else you want to talk about your time in Vietnam?
Nothing except I'm excited to go back and experience it as like an adult and to see how much has changed, especially the nightlife.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
as a kid, I didn't get to enjoy it. However, nowadays, hey, I hear good things and I'm excited to experience it.
All right, sweet. Yeah, same for me. I want to go back to the Philippines and give that a good old adult adventure. I can't wait. So who knows? Maybe next year, do a little double country trip, you know? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining the first episode of week 2, officially episode 5 of the Daily Hotpot.
The Daily Hotpot.
Woo! So please join us for the rest of the week. Again, we're here Tuesdays through Fridays, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And as always, guys, take it easy.
Bye.